See right below me is just a long trail of blood. Just keeps going.
It's not letting it. Oh, it's letting it. Slowly keep me right, you know.
The easiest thing to sell in Chicago is a gun.
Just want to say, like, the devil is really working.
Please, all you young kids out here, young men, would y'all please put the guns down?
It's a Ruger.
And I just got on my knees. I said, God, I said, just give me one more day.
Gun violence in Chicago. An issue that has caught the attention of news outlets from around the world and perplexed a nation. We arrived just after the city's deadliest month in 2 decades. August of 2016 alone saw more than 400 people shot and at least 78 homicides. We came here to take a look inside the city's struggle with gun violence and investigate what a city saturated with firearms means for its communities. The problem has devastated countless families as local elected officials tout their ideas to an exhausted city.
As big a problem as gun violence is for Chicago, it is not beyond our ability to solve.
Much like other cities in America, violent crime is concentrated to specific areas. In 2016, the majority of Chicago's nearly 800 homicides were concentrated in the south and west sides of the city.
What age did you first start rolling with the gang?
I was 12.
12.
Yeah.
I was also 12.
Now 12.
12.
Yeah.
And how old were you the first time that you picked up a gun?
Shit, I was like 9.
We sat down with members of a renowned street gang on Chicago's west side, the Black Souls.
How old were you the first time you shot somebody?
So like 16.
And you were pretty young when you first started seeing people get killed.
Yeah.
And what was that like for you?
Fucked up. As for me personally speaking, as I said before, it was like a part of life, you know? To be honest, it was a part of life.
You just became normal?
Yeah.
If you had to put a number on it, how many friends do you think you've lost to guns?
I couldn't put no number on it, man. A lot of people that I love died because of gun violence, man.
For many families in Chicago, the pain of losing someone to senseless violence is too familiar. That evening, we attended a vigil for a young man killed in the South Lawndale neighborhood on Chicago's west side.
Just want to say, like, the devil is really working.
Really
The
busy.
devil is really
He's working
working.
hard.
My brother died September 2011 on the 6th. My nephew died September 2016 on the 6th. Their funeral gonna be on the same day.
Please, all you young kids out here, young men, would y'all please put the guns down? Put the guns down. We don't need them. We don't need the guns. Put them down.
Gun-related murders in Chicago have reached a 20-year high. Too often, single mothers are left trying to make sense of the loss of their child.
You're gonna see all different kind up here. This is the Popeyes where he got killed at.
Donna Hall is a mail lady for the U.S. Postal Service. Her son Marshall was gunned down at a local Popeyes in the neighborhood where she grew up.
This is considered the Austin area, and I just feel so when I cross Austin to this way, I just be like, oh Lord, just no traffic, please. Just let me get to where I'm going so I can get back across Austin. Because of the gun violence, because of the violence, you just don't know.
We tagged along with Donna as she picked up her granddaughter, Marshall's daughter, from school.
Come on. January the 18th, on a Friday. He was inside of Popeyes. Some guy shot through the window, shot him on his shoulder, and shot 2 of his fingers off, and then it shot him in the back.
Do you know who killed your son?
Yeah. But nobody wants to talk and nobody wants to go to the police.
Shootings left unsolved by the authorities sometimes leave grieving friends and family with an urge to seek justice on their own terms.
I was gonna buy a gun.
But you were thinking of buying a gun?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Why?
I was angry, I was mad.
So your first instinct after your son was killed by a gun was to go and get a gun yourself so you could either shoot his killer or kill yourself.
Shoot to get his killer, then kill myself. Yeah. I didn't care how his mama felt. I didn't care. I want her to feel the same type of pain I felt.
What kept you from actually purchasing that gun?
And I just got on my knees. I said, God, I said, just give me one more day.
The reality in the city's most troubled neighborhoods is that today the violence is rarely over gang business, and more often over trivial disputes between small cliques.
See right below me is just a long trail of blood.
The next night, we arrived at another vigil, but this one was different. Family and friends were mourning the loss of their loved one who had been shot, when suddenly, they became the target, themselves the latest victims of a retaliation shooting. Jay Butler had just minutes earlier been grieving the loss of his best friend when a car suddenly drove by the vigil and opened fire. This is a disturbing but common retaliation tactic.
And today they came back on the candlelight when we come out with the candles and respect the dead. They came out tonight. They shot his mama, man.
They shot his mother?
Yes, in the head. She's gone.
How often have you seen stuff like this?
Man, it's too often. It's too often. It's too often. I see this damn near every day, but it's just it hurts even more when it's, you feel me, when it's people you grown up with, people that you respect like blood, you know what I'm saying? People that respect you more than your own mother, you know what I'm saying? That hurts. It's hard, man.
They shot his mother.
They shot his mom.
Estranged from his mother and living on his own, Jay told us that in less than 24 hours, he'd lost the closest thing to a family that he had ever had. After refusing to answer questions from the police, he walked away from our cameras and didn't answer our calls. The causes of Chicago's struggle with gun violence are deep-seated, often attributed to the realities of life in pockets of the city that have been neglected and marginalized for decades. Chicago is unique to other big cities in America because of the vast number of guns flowing through its streets.
How easy is it to get a gun?
Very easy. Very easy as hell.
Easy as hell?
Yeah. I can leave you right now and go get a bunch of more guns. It's very easy. Just like going to the store buying a bag of chips. It's that easy.
Yeah, what do you have here?
This is some more Uzi shit
Take
right now.
man, look at look 40 here.
That's Uzi right here, man. Really,
Yeah.
shit
It's
really
not
right
loaded,
here.
Oh, it is loaded?
Yeah, this motherfucker
It's loaded. Keep me right, you know.
It's not no technique.
Wow, one in the chamber too. Wow.
Semi-automatic, man.
In 2016, over 8,000 guns were recovered by law enforcement, and the Chicago Police Department saw a 20% increase in illegal gun seizures.
The easiest thing to sell in Chicago is a gun. So if you got a gun and you broke, you can sell your gun. Like, for whatever. People will buy a gun for whatever.
On average, 7 times more guns are seized in Chicago than in New York City, and more than twice as many as in Los Angeles.
Nobody in Chicago that I know of manufacture guns. You know what I mean? We don't make guns. We don't own any planes. We don't own any boats. We don't own any trains to ship guns. So the question is, how do so many guns get here? You know, that's the question that everybody wants to know.
Andre Thomas is a former leader of the Gangster Disciples, a street gang on the south side of Chicago. After serving a prison sentence for murder, he now works for Ceasefire, a grassroots violence interruption effort.
You don't have super gangs anymore. That's over with. You have a lot of cliques, a lot of kids that's involved in these cliques. So the question is, where the hell are they getting these guns from?
To see exactly what Andre is talking about, simply log on to Twitter, and young men flaunt their guns all over social media. To understand the daunting task of tracking Chicago's gun problem, we rode along with the Cook County Sheriff's Police gun team, who are among a handful of law enforcement bodies working to stem the flow of guns in Chicago. One of the tactics the unit uses is street stops. The team pulls over individuals for minor infractions, hoping to gain information or a tip. We're on the city's deep south side, and the gun team receives just that, a a tip from a young man on whom they'd found a bag of marijuana.
You know what one is that?
And how often do these guys say they'll cooperate, and does it usually work out or not?
More often than not.
So where's he going?
He's gonna stay here.
The team locates the gun in a trash can behind the home of an oblivious resident.
What is it? It's a Ruger.
This make and style is common on the streets of Chicago. While some days are better than others for the team, this time it took 4 police officers working 8 hours to recover a single gun. It's estimated that roughly 6,000 illegal guns are pulled off the streets each year. We followed the team back to the sheriff's headquarters, where the gun was dropped off to evidence control for tracing. We got a glimpse of all the guns they'd seized from just the past 6 months.
Just looking around the evidence room here, you get a pretty good picture of the large variety of guns that they're pulling off the streets in Chicago. There's everything from old hunting rifles that look like something your grandfather would have used to brand new AR-15s, 22s, Glock 9s, like pretty much anything you can imagine.
We later learned that the Ruger 9mm gun that they collected from the street was traced back to its initial sale at a gun store outside the city limits. Chicago has some of the most stringent gun laws in the country, yet a stunning number of guns are recovered here, more than any other big city in America. The situation begs the question, where do all these guns come from? It's usually intermediaries who are responsible for putting guns in the hands of criminals, meaning straw purchasers, brokers, and gun traffickers. And over 60% of these guns associated with gangs originate from out of state, the leading supplier being nearby Indiana.
So you don't think that you'll ever be able to stop the flow of guns in Chicago?
Probably not.
Do you think that stricter laws would help?
Stricter laws are always good, as long as they're enforced.
Why does gun violence perpetuate itself so much here in Chicago?
Well, I think it begins with the fact that Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in the world. And across the city, I say a lot of people probably live in below the poverty line. And so what you see is people fighting for their survival. I don't think that people would choose to live this way if they had an option, if they had another way of living, if they had somewhere, you know, an honest way to make a living. I don't think that people would choose. Who would want to live like this if they really had a choice?
What do you think has to be done to curb the violence?
Jobs.
Jobs.
Jobs. Jobs. A motherfucker gonna eat by any means necessary. Any means necessary. If a motherfucker got no way to get no money, a motherfucker gonna get to some money. This motherfucker right here will take care of me.
Other issues in our documentary series include the rise of high-powered assault weapons, the battle to carry guns on campus, and the controversy over smart gun technology. To check out our entire documentary series, subscribe to AJ Plus and watch more docs.